A once successful science channel has sold its soul, and now it's silencing all critics. If you were a child of the 2010s, you might recognize Aumsum's channel. This channel was made 11 years ago, and as you might notice, they made animations for children's science content. This gave them a huge viewership, with the channel surpassing 2 billion views in total. Now, I can't lie, I don't know if this channel was ever the best resource for learning. Having looked over its content, a lot of it was all flash and little substance. Some of the science questions they were answering were quite strange, like what if we were made out of chocolate? Or what if the sun was made out of chocolate? Or what if trees were made out of chocolate? But they'd also ask a lot of good questions, such as why can't dogs eat chocolate? But given that this channel was made for children, I do understand why strange questions were asked. At the end of the day, as long as the information they're sharing is true and informative, I don't have a problem with it. In fact, these video topics might be for the best. Children interested in science should be asking strange questions, trying to learn about how the world works, even if, in the grand scheme of things, some of the questions they're answering are fairly trivial. However, over the years, there was slowly but surely a degradation in the quality of their content. Let's take a look at a recent video and then compare it to an old one made on the same topic.
Why does our stomach growl?
Because there are bears in our stomach.
Nah. Growling sound is produced mostly due to movement of gas in the digestive tract.
Notice the attention to detail, the passion that comes across in this short clip. And now let's look at a recent upload.
Aumsum was sitting quietly on a bench when suddenly a strange sound echoed from his belly.
Huh?
Shocked, he wondered, why does our stomach growl?
Okay, so it's no secret that today, this education channel is completely and utterly AI powered. It has an AI voice, the animations are AI, the thumbnails are AI, and I would therefore assume that the information might have been AI generated. Now, I don't want to sound like some of the teachers that I had growing up, and I'm sure many of you guys would have had too, which make Wikipedia out to be some sort of hellscape full of false information and hoaxes. But AI can sometimes be that. It's not always factually correct. ChatGPT even clarifies that on its page. Sometimes simple questions that could easily be answered by your young child are answered wrong by AI. Call me an old man yelling at cloud all you want, but I don't think that we should be educating the next generation with ones and zeros. And even then, some of the videos that Aumsum have been putting out recently are not educational in the slightest. They are pure brain rot.
Aumsum wakes up smiling and suddenly feels his body puffing up like a balloon. His blanket slips away, landing in a heap on the floor. A scared spider dangles nearby, swaying with the movement of the air. Aumsum waves gently at it, sending it swinging like on a ride.
To be fair, this notion of not letting AI educate your children does seem to be fairly commonplace throughout the internet. Aumsum's recent videos have had absolutely disastrous like to dislike ratios, sometimes even less than 10% of likes compared to dislikes. As I brought up in my recent video about exposing AI channels which discuss animation, I think that it's interesting that the comments here are turned off. It's almost like they don't want people knowing that it's AI. And you can definitely tell that this has been coming for a while. There have been reports that they've been including AI for more than a year now, and over the past several months, it's just gotten worse. I've spoken about AI channel takeovers before. See my video on the JCS incident if you're curious about it, which I'll link in the description, but I suspect that this channel wasn't a channel for sale. I think that the people that own this now are still the original owners. And the reason I think this is that you'll notice on the channel, the transition to AI is quite gradual, very slowly changing over time. Most AI content farms that I've seen don't really care to transition in. They care about immediate results and therefore just change immediately overnight. I understand that at the end of the day, the goal of a YouTube channel is to make money. But ask yourself this, if there was a small team behind this channel before, would its turn to AI essentially get everyone laid off? I mean, think about it. The channel has completely and utterly turned to AI. There is no more room for thumbnail designers, narrators, researchers, or animators anymore. This is just speculation, but this is how I see it, okay? Based on the view count that this channel has received over the years, billions of views, the person behind it will undeniably be extremely rich, and they've then gone to try and expand their wealth by cutting costs, firing staff who made the channel what it was in the first place so that they can outsource it to AI. I mean, am I missing something here? Those jobs are now no longer needed. You don't need thumbnail designers if you're AI generating them. You don't need script writers and researchers if you're AI generating the script. You don't need animators if you're AI generating the animation, and the narrator is also now replaced with AI. Those people are fired. They've cut costs, and I anticipate fired people just so they can serve up some slop educational content, and I use that word very loosely, ladies and gents, to children that just want to learn. It's a shame too, because why even change? Their videos were doing well. They'd always gain hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. And now some of them can't even hit 50K. They've been exposed as an AI channel, and winning back the trust from their audience, I feel, will be near impossible. But Aumsum is just the first channel that we'll be discussing today, and between me and you, they are by far the tamest. I kid you not, ladies and gents, we are now 6 episodes into the Animayhem series, the series where I cover exposed animation channels. And each one seems to get worse than the last. And this video is no exception. So still to come today, we have fetish channels galore, which make me, a boy that was raised Catholic, question my belief in a deity. You've seen the thumbnail. I can confirm that we're going to get into some freaky ass stuff. But I need to mentally prepare myself first, so let's warm up with something a little bit different. What happens when a YouTube animator gets exposed for drawing a racist caricature? Okay, this is a deep cut if I've ever had one on the Animayhem series. The animation that we're about to discuss comes from a channel called Marbad13. It has less than 300,000 total channel views, less than 2,000 subscribers, and 19 uploads split between 8 long form and 11 short form videos. They also have a slightly larger following on Instagram and an even larger one on TikTok. With such a modest fan base, at least on YouTube, you're probably wondering to yourself, what is it that he could have possibly done to end up in an Animayhem video? Well, before I tell you, please let me add a disclaimer. The animation that I'm about to show you may be deemed as racist or offensive, specifically to the East Asian and Chinese community. By showing it, I'm not trying to promote it. In fact, I'm openly criticizing it. With that said, without me telling you what it is, let me show you. So Marbad decided to use their free will to make an animation where Homer is turned into a stereotypical racist Chinese caricature. Now, if I'm not mistaken in saying, Marbad is not the first person to create this Chinese Homer character. Given that the animations on his channel did tend to differ quite severely in style, I theorized that maybe he had stolen this video. So I tried to follow up on things by researching Chinese Homer, which was when I found a video by a channel called Chocolate Cake, which has almost 5 million views. This video is entirely in Spanish, and it depicts Homer saying that he's Chinese Homer. Barney asks him to grab a beer, but Homer says no because he's Chinese Homer.
Homero, vamos a tomar una cerveza. No puedo, Barney, porque en China no tomamos cerveza.
To be honest, I think this video is hard to grasp, but I also think that that's by design. Maybe any Spanish speakers who have seen the video will know better, they might know why this is more popular, but I think that if we look back to the memes that were popular back in 2018, I think that that might explain some of the humor that we're seeing here. Regardless, for Marbad to make an animation with this racist caricature would see him get a little bit of backlash on r/YouTube drama. But to my surprise, people on TikTok seemed more interested in the fact that he included Sonichu on this color wheel than a literal racist stereotype staring them right in the face. I mean, am I just being a snowflake for this? I don't know what you guys think, so let me know down in the comments. Speak your mind. I'm not usually the type of person to get offended on other people's behalf, but I don't feel as though Asians are gonna see that video and be very happy with Marbad. And considering that this video on TikTok racked up 11 million views, I felt as though I had to mention it here. But very quickly, before we move on to the third story of this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I am absolutely loving the Animayhem series, as long as it still gets support from from you guys, I will carry it on. So liking, subscribing, commenting down below, and just engaging with this video helps it in the algorithm. It shows your support, and yeah, it would be very much appreciated. But if I haven't yet proven why you should like and subscribe, then let me make the rest of this video do the talking for me. Because from here on out, things are only going up in terms of your satisfaction and down in terms of my mental state. Let's get on to Genzox. Now this next one comes courtesy of you guys. Specifically, it comes from Pink K's, who commented on my AI Exposed video, recommending that I take a look at a channel called Genzox for a future video. Remember guys, if you know of a sus animation channel, then let me know its name down in the comment section below and I will look into it. I read every single comment I get. And if I include it in a video, then you'll get a massive shout out, just like Pink K's. Now, Pink K's claimed that the channel showed cartoon fetishes and inappropriate subjects disguised as children's cartoons. So I took a look at the channel, and upon review, Pink K's isn't wrong. The channel has more than 600,000 subscribers and is filled to the brim with cartoons that some people watching will undeniably be using as material, let's just say. Just by looking at the thumbnails of a few of its most popular videos, I can easily identify several fetishes on display. Women here are displayed with huge mummy milkers. They're often being restrained or dominated by venom, and in one of the thumbnails, it even has an ahegao face in the background. One of them also seems to depict her as heavily pregnant, which is definitely appealing to the inflation gooners, who we will get back to later on in the video. And yes, that is a threat. But clicking on these thumbnails and looking at the videos inside them, they are just as bad. Honestly, this is some of the most brain-rotted animation I have ever seen, and worse yet, it is literally softcore porn. I have no idea who's gooning to Venom sticking his tongue down the throats of blondes with literal Z-cut boobs, but given the insane view counts on these videos, I have to imagine a lot of people are.
And so will you! And you! And you.
And I think what I say next might just prove that point. Now, I couldn't tell you what the average is on YouTube for a view to comment ratio, but I did a bit of quick math and found that for my last 7 videos, I generated 1,003,000 views and just a little bit over 5,000 comments, meaning that I averaged 1 comment every 195 views. Now, to be honest, that doesn't sound like a lot. As I said, I don't know the average, so it could be on the high end, or to be honest, it could be on the low. But I'll tell you one thing I do know, it could be a lot lower. When it came to Genzox's past 7 videos, as of the time I did the maths, they had generated 1,005,000 views, so basically the exact same as me. However, going through every single video's comment section, I noticed they are barren. In all 7 videos combined with over 1 million views, they only had 105 comments, meaning that on Genzox's content, they received 1 comment for every 9,570 views. Gee willikers, I wonder what people are doing instead of commenting. This channel is a bit of an enigma to me. I don't know why comments are so rare, and so I decided to do a bit of digging, because I felt as though I could find something that would give me the truth. But then I found something that might have raised more questions than it answered. I discovered that Genzox had a second channel, a gaming channel called Stream on Deck. And while upon first glance it looks normal enough, once you start noticing its oddities, it's tough to go back. Videos like him using the camera to zoom in on the midriff of a character in Pokemon was curious. Him titling a video, "This cake made me buy a Nintendo Switch 2, Pokemon ZA," was even more suspicious. And going back even further, there are video thumbnails that are straight up characters from video games in bikinis or very revealing clothing. There's even one thumbnail on this channel where a character has a mysterious liquid on her face. But for obvious reasons, I won't be showing it to you because that would most certainly get this video on a one-way trip to the Shadow Realm. This is to say that whoever's behind these channels is a straight up gooner. I mean, if you couldn't tell from the redonkulous racks he gives his characters, this art style is definitely intentional. Now, I will say this, I don't think that Genzox is intentionally trying to masquerade as some sort of kids YouTube channel like we have seen in the past. While yes, he does include some characters from children's media, just a look at these thumbnails will tell you everything you need to know about what's inside. But while these animations might not be targeted towards children, it doesn't change the fact that what happens in them is absolutely repulsive. In several of these videos, it depicts female characters that are captured, be straight up essayed, or raped. These videos aren't explicit. If anything happens, it's usually mosaicked over so you can't actually see anything, but it is implied. And what I found out next made me drop my jaw, because I would think that a channel that makes animated essay videos would probably be on the brink of termination, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Not only are their videos not age restricted, they're actually monetized. YouTube is monetizing animated essay videos in front of our very eyes. The reason I know this is because I went on an incognito tab and every single video I clicked on had an ad play before it. And then something even worse happened. When I was on this tab, I looked into the recommended videos and I found something that completely and utterly left me bewildered. You see, when you're on incognito, your tab is fresh. Everything that's being recommended to you is only recommended to you based on your previous watch history. And if you're watching strange essay animations, the recommended tab is going to be utterly deprived. So when I clicked on one of Genzox videos and looked over to the recommended tab, what do I find but a disgusting inflation animation video? Do I dare? I thought to myself. Do I go where no mentally sane YouTuber has gone before, open up this Pandora's box and dedicate hours of my precious, limited time on this earth to researching degenerate inflation animation content? Well, I think you already know the answer to that. Let's do it. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even know where to start with this one. I guess we'll begin with the scale of what we're seeing here. Aysrel Erolshum, or Aysrel as I'll be referring to it as from here on out, has more than 420,000 subscribers and more than 200 million views. I didn't know just how popular inflation content is, but there's the proof in the pudding. I don't know about you guys, but am I the only one who thinks that this is on the rise? How many boomers do you know that are into inflation stuff? Like, none. It didn't happen. These days though, it's like everyone and their cousin is into weird, furry inflation stuff. And I don't think that Aysrel is helping this, because if you take a look at their content, you'll notice that the characters that are depicted as inflated are very often popular characters from kids' media. We're talking the likes of characters from Pokemon, Super Mario, Sonic, The Amazing World of Gumball, Zelda, Teen Titans, My Little Pony, and plenty more I can't even count. These are some of the worst thumbnails I have ever seen. My right honourable friend, I don't want to kink shame, okay? But what is it about a guy being eaten and then he's inside her stomach and you can see the imprint of him screaming for help from inside her, like, no, help? What part of that gets you randy? Honestly guys, I might get cancelled for saying this, but sometimes we've got to be brave. I think something is severely wrong with human sexuality if this is the way we're moving forward. 500,000 people have clicked on this? Like he's in fear! Look at him! Given that the characters featuring in these thumbnails are popular in children's media, I don't want to say that this is them sicking their fetish on kids intentionally, but I definitely don't think it's impossible for these thumbnails to be shown to kids. When it comes to the content featuring within these thumbnails, it's usually, for the most part, some sort of indie gameplay where you're feeding the characters, but from time to time it will include fully fledged animations, which means that this definitely counts for Animayhem. On top of that, I don't know if this is a huge deal to you guys, but I thought I might as well at least mention it. Some of the characters that they depict as inflated are technically underage. For example, Raven and Starfire from Teen Titans are teens. Tails is, according to a Google search, fucking 8, and apparently Amy's 12. So it's probably not great that they're being included in fetish content, even if the horse has definitely left the barn decades ago for that one, considering all of the Rule 34 made on all of those characters over the years. Oh, and speaking of fetish content, This is fetish content, right? That's against YouTube's rules. YouTube, in its own monetization checklist, tells you that you're not allowed to make content that is sexually gratifying for people, which means that you can't make kink content. I don't know if this fetish blow-up game is kink content. I bet you some people are into it, and the animations definitely do count. So therefore, by YouTube's own rules, this channel is not allowed to be monetized, surely. This channel is neither terminated, I don't know if it should be, I don't know the fine print on it, but we'll roll with it. But then it's not age restricted, which means that kids can access it, and given the thumbnails, it's not exactly great. And then it's monetized, which means they're making money out of this. And it also means that a human reviewer at YouTube must have at some point seen this channel because they check it before they monetize you and went, nothing to see here, give this guy his bag. Like, what? Call me a narc all you want, I don't care. This channel is going against YouTube's terms of service and therefore should see some consequences. There are plenty of channels that are going unpunished by YouTube, and to learn of a few more of them, definitely check out my latest episode of Animayhem, my flagship series on exposed animated channels next. One channel I discuss started a lie, another one started a scam, and a third started a cult. Click on the screen right now to check it out, you absolute legends. And aside from that, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.